What happens when a billionaire tech CEO's 48-year-old wife attacks a dialysis patient in a restaurant parking lot, then strolls into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom rolling her eyes, scrolling her phone, and bluntly telling the judge, "This is a waste of time?" This entitled woman is moments away from discovering that disrespect toward a judge carries real consequences. Some contempt for kidney failure patients creates instant outrage, and certain arrogance can make billionaire husbands lose half their company's value in minutes. But what makes this case truly devastating isn't only the assault or the courtroom disrespect. It's what occurred when 51-year-old dialysis patient Robert Chen pulled down his collar and revealed his dialysis catheter to the entire courtroom, a tube surgically implanted in his neck that keeps him alive, causing Patricia's face to shift from smug contempt to sheer horror in seconds. Then Judge Caprio made a single call to the SEC that wiped out 50% of her husband's company and sent him to federal prison. It's a Tuesday afternoon in Providence Municipal Court. Patricia Sterling, 48, wife of tech billionaire David Sterling, CEO of Tech Venture Solutions, stands before the bench facing assault charges stemming from an incident at Romano's restaurant 4 days earlier. The victim is 51-year-old Robert Chen, a former engineer now living on disability due to end-stage kidney failure that requires dialysis 3 times a week. He was dining at the restaurant when Patricia, irritated that Robert parked in a handicapped space without appearing sick enough, verbally confronted him and then shoved him, causing him to fall and injure his shoulder. When Providence police officer Maria Rodriguez arrived and attempted to arrest Patricia, the response was immediate and dismissive. "Officer, do you know who my husband is?" "David Sterling. Tech Venture Solutions. We're worth $4 billion. This man was pretending to be disabled to steal a parking spot. I was doing a public service." Officer Rodriguez arrested her anyway, though Patricia's constant name-dropping and belief that she was helping society created instant complications. Now Patricia enters Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, and everything about her presence screams wealth, entitlement, and absolute disdain for the process. Designer from head to toe. A tailored Chanel suit. A Hermes bag. Cartier jewelry. Designer sunglasses resting atop perfectly styled hair. She checks her phone non-stop, scanning the courtroom like she's slumming somewhere far beneath her status. Behind her sits a high-priced corporate attorney, clearly accustomed to managing elite, high-profile legal disasters. Judge Caprio watches the entrance closely. The phone obsession. The open disdain. The attitude that court is an inconvenience rather than a responsibility. All deeply troubling. The bailiff calls the case, the State of Rhode Island versus Patricia and Sterling. Charges, assault and battery on a person with a disability. Judge Caprio reviews the file. "Mrs. Sterling, how do you plead?" Patricia barely glances up from her phone. "Not guilty, Your Honor," she says, still typing. "Mrs. Sterling, put your phone away." She looks startled, as if being unfairly restrained. With exaggerated reluctance and visible irritation, she places the phone inside her designer bag. "Your Honor, I apologize. My husband's company is finalizing a major acquisition. I need to stay available. Mrs. Sterling, you are in criminal court. Nothing is more important than these proceedings." Patricia visibly rolls her eyes, clearly, deliberately, disrespectfully. Judge Caprio's expression hardens. "Mrs. Sterling, did you just roll your eyes at this court?" She attempts innocence. "Your Honor, I'm just being realistic about priorities. My husband runs a $4 billion company. We employ 3,000 people. This situation, a parking lot disagreement, is honestly beneath the attention it's receiving. If you're not subscribed, hit that button now, because what happens next, especially what the dialysis patient reveals, will shock you." "Mrs. Sterling, explain the parking lot disagreement." Patricia speaks as if educating people who don't understand success. "Your Honor, I was meeting colleagues at Romano's for lunch, networking for my husband's company. When I arrived, I saw this man," she gestures dismissively toward Robert, "parked in a handicapped space. He exited his car and walked normally toward the entrance. No wheelchair. No cane. No visible disability. I confronted him for stealing a space meant for people who truly need it. He became defensive. Things escalated. There was minor physical contact when he refused to admit he was faking. Mrs. Sterling, Mr. Chen has a valid handicap permit." "Your Honor, everyone knows those permits are easy to obtain fraudulently. This man was walking just fine. Truly disabled people, wheelchair users, amputees, actually need those spots. He was exploiting the system." Robert Chen, seated in the witness area, shifts uncomfortably, his hand instinctively moving toward his neck. Judge Caprio responds carefully. "Mrs. Sterling, not all disabilities are visible. Patricia pulls her phone out again, glancing at a message. Your Honor, I understand that technically, but practically speaking, she continues typing while talking. Mrs. Sterling, I told you to put your phone away. She looks genuinely annoyed. Your Honor, my husband is currently meeting with venture capitalists. I need to respond. This case is honestly a waste of time that's keeping me from important business matters. The courtroom reacts with audible shock. She has just told a judge, to his face, that his courtroom is a waste of time. Judge Caprio's voice turns cold and firm. Mrs. Sterling, did you just tell me this court is a waste of time? She realizes she's offended him but doesn't grasp why. Your Honor, I'm simply being honest. You handle parking tickets, small claims, minor assaults. My husband's company deals with national security contracts, artificial intelligence, government partnerships. Comparatively speaking, this is not a productive use of anyone's time. Can we just resolve this so I can return to actual important matters? Mrs. Sterling, put your phone away now or I will hold you in contempt. She reluctantly complies again, her expression dripping with irritation and superiority. Mr. Chen, please come forward. A man stands and walks slowly toward the front. He is 51 years old, dressed simply. His movements are cautious, measured, like someone managing chronic illness. His shoulder is wrapped, but the most noticeable detail, if you look closely, is a small bulge beneath the collar on the right side of his neck. Mr. Chen, please tell the court what happened. Robert's voice is soft, carrying the deep exhaustion of someone fighting a serious illness. Your Honor, I'm 51 years old. I was an electrical engineer. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with end-stage kidney failure. My kidneys no longer function. I require hemodialysis 3 times a week just to stay alive. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 4 hours each session. Without dialysis, I would die within days. I'm currently on the National Kidney Transplant waiting list. I've been waiting for 2 years for a transplant. Until that happens, dialysis is what keeps me alive. 4 days ago, I had dialysis that morning. I was exhausted. Dialysis leaves you weak, dizzy, nauseous. After treatment, I drove to Romano's restaurant to meet my sister for lunch. She knows how drained I am after dialysis and wanted to cheer me up. I parked in the handicap space. I have a legal handicap permit because dialysis patients qualify. I walk slowly toward the restaurant. This woman, he gestures toward Patricia, followed me from the parking lot. She said, "Excuse me, you're parked in a handicap space." I said, "Yes, I have a permit." She said, "You don't look disabled. You're walking fine. Those spaces are for real disabled people." I explained, "I have kidney failure and just came from dialysis." She said, "Everyone has a medical excuse. If you can walk, you can park in regular spaces." I said, "Dialysis patients qualify because we're often too weak to walk long distances." She said, "That's the problem. People faking weakness to get convenient parking." I was too tired to argue. I walked toward the restaurant. She followed me, getting louder. She said, "People like you steal resources from people who actually need them." Then she pushed me hard from behind. I wasn't expecting it. I fell forward and caught myself with my shoulder. It was injured. She stood over me and said, "Maybe next time you'll have the decency to park honestly." Judge Caprio's face reflects deep anger and concern. "Mr. Chen, I'm very sorry this happened to you." Patricia interrupts, pulling out her phone again. "Your Honor, I'm sorry, but my husband just texted me. The SEC is calling him. I need to step out." "Mrs. Sterling, put that phone away or I will have the bailiff remove it and hold you in contempt." Patricia finally puts the phone away, but her expression radiates pure contempt for Judge Caprio and the proceedings. Judge Caprio signals for the restaurant's security footage. The monitor lights up with Romano's parking lot. Robert's car pulls into the handicap space. Robert exits slowly, carefully, moving like someone in pain. He walks toward the restaurant entrance, not limping dramatically, but with the measured weakness of chronic illness. Patricia's luxury SUV pulls in behind him. Patricia exits quickly, strides toward Robert aggressively. A clear confrontation. Robert tries to explain. Patricia talks over him, moving closer. Robert turns to walk away. Patricia follows, still hostile. Robert turns to respond. Patricia suddenly shoves him hard from behind. Robert falls forward onto the concrete, catching himself with his shoulder, crying out. Patricia stands over him, clearly saying something harsh, then walks away without offering help. When the footage ends, Patricia reaches for her phone again. Judge Caprio's voice booms. "Mrs. Sterling, that is the third time I have told you to put that phone away." "Bailiff, confiscate Mrs. Sterling's phone immediately." The bailiff takes the phone. Patricia looks outraged. "Your Honor, that's my personal property. My husband needs to reach me." "Mrs. Sterling, you have shown nothing but contempt for these proceedings. You rolled your eyes at this court. You repeatedly checked your phone. You told me this court was a waste of time to my face. You just watched video evidence of yourself assaulting a disabled man, and your immediate reaction was to reach for your phone. Explain yourself." Patricia's polished facade finally cracks slightly. "Your Honor, with all due respect, you don't understand the business world my husband and I operate in. We're closing a $500 million acquisition today. Every minute matters. This man," she gestures toward Robert, "was parked in a handicap space and walking normally. I made a judgment call. Was I wrong? Maybe. But this entire proceeding, municipal court, a parking lot incident, is honestly beneath the level of attention it's receiving." Judge Caprio rises from his chair. "Mrs. Sterling, you just told me again that this court is beneath you. Mr. Chen has kidney failure. He requires dialysis to stay alive. You assaulted him and accused him of faking." Patricia shrugs. "Your Honor, kidney failure. He was walking just fine. If he's that sick, why isn't he in a hospital? Why is he eating at restaurants?" Robert Chen stands from the witness area, trembling with emotion and physical weakness. "Mrs. Sterling, you want to know about kidney failure?" Before anyone can respond, Robert reaches up and pulls down his collar, exposing his neck. Clearly visible is a dialysis catheter, a medical device made of two tubes surgically implanted into a large vein in his neck. The tubes are external, unmistakable, impossible to fake. They are literally what keeps him alive, allowing dialysis machines to clean his blood 3 times a week. The courtroom gasps. The reality of severe chronic illness becomes undeniable. Robert's voice shakes. "This is my dialysis catheter. It goes directly into my jugular vein. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I go to a dialysis center. Nurses connect these tubes to a machine. That machine filters my blood for 4 hours because my kidneys don't work. Without this catheter and that machine, I would die. This is what kidney failure actually looks like." Patricia stares at the catheter, her expression shifting from smug contempt to absolute horror. The tubes in his neck. The undeniable medical reality. The realization that she called this man a faker while literal life support tubes protrude from his body. Her face transforms completely. The arrogant billionaire's wife vanishes, replaced by a woman forced to confront the reality of what she attacked. "Oh my God, that's in your neck. You have tubes in your neck." Robert continues, the catheter still clearly visible. "You said I don't look disabled. You said I was faking. You said if I can walk, I should park in regular spaces. I have end-stage kidney failure. I spend 12 hours every week connected to a machine that keeps me alive. I'm waiting for a kidney transplant. I may wait years. I may die waiting. And you shoved me to the ground because I didn't look sick enough." Patricia's face collapses. Her hands fly to her mouth. "I didn't know. I didn't see. You have tubes in your neck. Oh my God. What did I do?" She begins to cry, the full weight of reality crashing down on her. Judge Caprio now makes a decision that will wipe out 50% of Tech Venture Solutions stock value and send David Sterling to federal prison. "Clerk, I need immediate phone calls. Contact the Securities and Exchange Commission Enforcement Division. Also contact the U.S. Attorney's Office." Patricia's terror deepens. "Your Honor, please. Why are you calling the SEC? My husband's company, Mrs. Sterling, you spent this entire proceeding telling me your husband's company matters more than justice for a dialysis patient. You repeatedly checked your phone about a $500 million acquisition. You called this court a waste of time and beneath you. The SEC needs to determine whether your husband's company operates legally." Within minutes, 2 voices come through the speakerphone. "This is Director James Park, SEC Enforcement Division." "This is Assistant U.S. Attorney Lisa Chen." Judge Caprio addresses them. "Director Park, Attorney Chen, thank you for responding on such short notice. I am presiding over an assault case involving Patricia Sterling, wife of tech billionaire David Sterling, CEO of Tech Venture Solutions. Director Park responds immediately. Your Honor, we are very familiar with Tech Venture Solutions. They are currently under preliminary investigation. Patricia's face drains of color. Judge Caprio continues. Director Park, Mrs. Sterling has made repeated statements in my courtroom. She claims her husband is closing a $500 million acquisition today. She has checked her phone multiple times during court proceedings regarding this acquisition. She stated that every minute matters and that this court is a waste of time keeping her from important business. She said this court is beneath her because her husband runs a $4 billion company with national security contracts. A heavy pause follows. Director Park's voice sharpens. Your Honor, Mrs. Sterling has been checking her phone in court about a $500 million acquisition today? Yes. Multiple times. She attempted to leave to take calls. Your Honor, Tech Venture Solutions has not publicly disclosed any pending acquisition. Closing a $500 million deal without disclosure constitutes securities fraud. We are authorizing an emergency investigation effective immediately. Patricia tries to speak. Your Honor, I didn't mean, the acquisition is confidential. Mrs. Sterling, Judge Caprio cuts in, you just admitted to insider information regarding an undisclosed acquisition involving a publicly traded company. That is a federal crime. The call continues briefly. Then the courtroom doors swing open. SEC investigators and FBI agents enter. The lead SEC investigator steps forward. Your Honor, we executed emergency access to Tech Venture Solutions records. We uncovered systematic securities fraud. The company has been manipulating stock prices, concealing debt, and engaging in illegal insider trading. The $500 million acquisition Mrs. Sterling referenced is a shell company scheme designed to hide losses. The reported stock valuation is fraudulent. The true valuation is 50% lower. Patricia is sobbing now. All arrogance gone. Please, my husband didn't. I didn't mean, Mrs. Sterling, Judge Caprio states firmly, you rolled your eyes at this court, checked your phone about insider trading, and assaulted a dialysis patient. You are under arrest for insider trading. Your husband is under arrest for securities fraud. Judge Caprio turns to her one final time. Mrs. Sterling, your contempt for this court exposed your husband's crimes. This is your sentence: assault and battery on a person with a disability, 18 months in county jail, 5 years probation, 1,000 hours of community service at dialysis centers, and full restitution to Mr. Chen, in addition to federal charges for insider trading. Within hours, Tech Venture Solutions stock collapses by 50%. David Sterling faces up to 20 years in federal prison. Patricia loses everything: wealth, status, freedom. She serves her sentence working at dialysis centers. She meets patients. She witnesses the reality of kidney failure. She learns humility and courage after her release. She meets Robert Chen again. Mr. Chen, I pushed you down for using a handicap space. I called you a faker. I told Judge Caprio his court was a waste of time and beneath me. You showed me your dialysis catheter, tubes in your neck keeping you alive, and I finally understood. My arrogance exposed my husband's fraud and cost us everything. I am truly sorry. Robert takes her hand. Mrs. Sterling, you believed wealth made you superior to a sick man. Now you understand dialysis patients aren't faking. They're fighting to live. If this story moved you, subscribe for more moments where Judge Frank Caprio proves no amount of wealth excuses contempt for the chronically ill. Remember Patricia's words: this court is a waste of time. That is the legacy of Judge Frank Caprio, that is the courage of Robert Chen. Justice served, stock crashed, fraud exposed.